Great, thanks, Mark. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for attending today's talk. This talk came about because we've seen a kind of resurgence in modeling. I spent kind of the 90s doing, as Mark said in the background, doing quite a bit of large software systems architecture with modeling and UML, and kind of ran that whole 90s UML trend. And modeling seemed to die off after that. It seemed like we solved a lot of software architecture problems, found ways to communicate, and everyone was happy. And it seems like in the last 5 to 6 years, we've seen a resurgence in modeling, but more from a complex system perspective. We probably deliver more modeling training now than, frankly, I did in the 90s, but it's related more to systems modeling rather than software modeling. So we answer a lot of common questions for people in terms of how do we get started, what are some recommendations, what are some do's and don'ts, and tips and tricks. So we thought we'd throw that all together in a web session here to communicate it. First time I've delivered this talk, I've got I think 30 slides. I'm not sure how the pace will go, but we'll see how we do here. So really we want to talk about motivate why modeling. I have a few slides on that, but I'm going to go through them quickly. How decisions we have to look at when we model are why are we modeling? What's our goal? How much modeling do we need to do to satisfy that goal? How are we going to organize the model so that people can collaborate and not get in each other's way and bump into each other? So we want to talk about how we do traceability, navigating around the models, whatnot. Most people generate artifacts from the model, whether that be code, interfaces, documents. So we want to talk about the ability to go generate those artifacts out of the model. In fact, that's usually one of the value propositions is instead of manually writing a bunch of documents, we put all the knowledge in the model and then the documents come out of the information in the model. And then lastly, we want to talk about the different collaboration abilities around the model, decisions you have to make around how you collaborate. So as background, what are our goals for modeling? Typically, we model to help understand the system. So define the system and understand it. That's how we are coming up with a system specification. We want to be able to take that model and use it to communicate those decisions that we make. We do that now. We do that with text, and we do it with video and Word and whatnot. The problem with those approaches is they don't have a lot of rigor, consistency, or accuracy. Document-driven approaches to specifications have historically lacked that rigor, and models add more rigor. So that's why people are looking to models to make that upfront effort more consistent and more correct. We also want to facilitate collaboration. The documents historically have been kind of, we'll talk about a little bit later, more one and done, where systems now are more grown continuously. Right? We're continuously understanding more about the system, so we're continuously redefining the specification. So we need to facilitate that type of collaboration. That's another challenge with documents. Documents don't lend themselves easily to being modified frequently by groups of people or reviewed frequently by groups of people. We want to, another goal of modeling is we're going to put the system spec there, so we would like to be able to validate that it's what the user needs and verify that all of our interfaces are correct and that we haven't missed anything. So as we're making those decisions, we want to get feedback on those decisions as early as possible. And before the system's built, we want to be able to go into the model and do that verification and validation. And we can do that with executable models, which we'll talk about a little bit later. We also want to support the testing effort. We want to be able to create test cases and whatnot. So from our model, we might be able to generate test cases that we pass on to the testing team that they can use to test the model. And as the behavior of the model changes, we want to be able to regenerate those test cases to let them know what's changed.